Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. In this time, I will explain the material of Islamic education during the Umayyah and Abbasiyah Dynasties. History of Umayyah Dynasty. The Umayyah Dynasty was an Islamic empire founded by Umayyah ibn Abbasiyah, who came from the Quraysh tribe. He was the first caliph in 41 Hijriah or 661 Masehi. This year, it is also called al-Jama'ah because this year all Muslims agree to the Muawiyah Caliphate with the title Amir al-Mu'minin. According to the history of the Umayyah dynasty, is divided into two periods, namely, number 1, Umayyah dynasty 1 in Damascus, 41 Hijriah until 132 Hijriah. And then number 2, Umayyah Dynasty 2 in Andalusia or Spain, 745 until 1031 Masehi. Umayyah Dynasty 1 in Damascus, 41 Hijriah until 132 Hijriah. This dynasty ruled for approximately 90 years and experienced a change of leader 14 times. Among the great caliphs of this dynasty were Muawiyah ibn Abbasiyah, 1661 until 618 Masehi, to the last Hisham ibn Abdul al-Malik, 724 until 743 Masehi. After his death, the Umayyah Caliphate had bad morals and was overthrown by the Abbasiyah Dynasty. Number 2, Umayyah Dynasty 2 in Andalusia or Spain, 745 until 1031 Masehi. The Islamic kingdom in Spain was founded by Abdul ar-Rahman I al-Dakhil when Spain was under the rule of the Umayyah Dynasty II. Muslims began to make progress, especially in the leadership of Abdul ar-Rahman al-Awsat. Islamic education showed very rapid development because the caliph is known as a ruler who loves knowledge and invite experts from the Islamic world to Spain so that scientific activities there become more lively. And then next, the golden age and time of setback of the Umayyah dynasty. In his leadership, the Umayyah dynasty achieved many golden ages include 1. Territory expansion, 2. Political sector of government, 3. Economics, 4. Socio-cultural sector, 5. Education and science sector. Number 1. Territory expansion. Under the rule of the Umayyah, Islam reached Spain, the Arabian Peninsula, Syria, Palestine, North Africa, parts of Anatolia, Iraq, Persia, Afghanistan, India, and other countries. Number 2, political sector or government. Appointed a council of Umayyah advisors and form a secretary consisting of A. Khatib al-Rasul, in charge of managing administration and correspondence. B. Khatib al-Kharaj, tasked with recording state income and expenditure. C. Khatib al-Jundi, tasked with managing all matters relating to the army. D. Khatib al-Shurta, tasked with taking care of security and public order. And then number 3, economics. Development in trade and the economy by managing state revenues from tax revenues in the Sham regions reached 1,730,000 gold dinars. Number 4, socio-cultural sector. The existence of social interaction between Muslims and their conquered lands result in a blend of culture such as the art or architecture done of the rock, Kubah al-Shahra in Jerusalem, as well as in the field of literature produce great figures, namely Al-Akhtal, Farda, and Jurer. Number 5, education and science sector. According to George Zaidan or George Zaidan, this will is in the development of the Arabic language, Magbat as a city center for scientific activities, Qira'ah science, Nahwu science, interpretation science, Hadith science, and others. Time of setback of the Umayyah dynasty. Number 1, conflict between Islam and Christianity. Number 2, the absence of a unifying ideology. Number 3, economic difficulties. Number 4, remoteness. Okay, next, patterns of Islamic education in the Umayyah dynasty. During the Umayyah dynasty, the education pattern was decentralized, in which education was not only centered on the state capital but also developed in autonomous regions. At this time, there are no levels and age standards in education. Learning places. Number 1, Kutab. Number 2, mosque. Number 3, literary assembly. Number 4, place education. Number 5, formation of Badi'ah. Number 1, Kutab. Kutab or maktab comes from the word maktaba, which means to read or a place to read. So, Kutab is a place to learn to read. Kutab is a place where children learn to read, memorize, and read the Quran and the main teaching of Islam. The method used is directing the newspaper and writing, as well as grammar and writing. Number 2, mosque. During the Umayyah dynasty, the mosque was used as a place for learning at the middle and higher levels after the kutab. The lesson taught include the newspaper, tafsir, hadith, fiqh, arithmetic, and astrology. Number 3. Literary Assembly. The Literary Assembly is a palace meeting prepared by the caliph, decorated with beautiful decoration and only for prominent writers and scholars. This place is used for discussion forums on literary topics and as political debates. Number 4. Place education. Organize education for children and government officials. The curriculum is used to acquire the skills to take control of the government for the purpose and needs of the government. So, it is regulated by teachers and parents. Number 5. Formation of Badi'ah. Badi'ah is a place to learn Arabic fluently and pure. This is because Khalifah Abdul Malik ibnu Marwan program Arabianisasi. The Bedouin Sahara Padang are fluent and pure in the rules of the Arabic language. Many Khalifahs send their children to Badi'ah to learn the language. Many Arabs and scholars went there, including Khalil ibn Ahmad. Okay, next, history of the Abbasiyah dynasty. The power of the Abbasiyah dynasty was established because it continued the Umayyah dynasty, named the Abbasiyah Caliph because the founders and rulers of the dynasty were descendants of Al-Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet Muhammad. The Abbasiyah dynasty was founded by Abdullah bin al-Saffah ibnu Muhammad ibnu Ali ibnu Abdullah ibnu al-Abbas. The Abbasiyah dynasty ruled in 750 until 1256 Masehi. With the Abbasiyah government, the center of government was moved from Damascus to Baghdad. Okay, next, the Golden Age and time setback of the Abbasiyah dynasty. Number 1, the Golden Age of the Abbasiyah dynasty. The Abbasiyah dynasty reached its peak during the Caliphate Harun al-Rashid, 780 until 809 Masehi, and his son Al-Ma'mun, 813 until 833 Masehi. The wealth owned by the Caliph Harun al-Rashid was used for social purposes such as educational institutions, health, hospital, scientific education, and culture and literature. The government period is often said to be the golden age of Islam in various fields as follows. Number 1. Administration and government. At the time of Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, 754 until 775 Masehi, moved the capital of the country, which was originally Al-Hashimiyah, to a new city, which he built Baghdad in 762 Masehi, so that in this capital city he consolidated and proved order to his government. He also appointed a number of personnel to occupy positions in the executive and judicial institution, as well as in his administration, created a new tradition by appointing the Vizier or Prime Minister as the coordinator of the department, establishing the State Protocol Agency, the Secretary of State, the Complaint Investigatory Council, and the State Police, in addition to fixing the armed forces. Number 2. Trade division. At the time of Al-Mahdi, 775 until 785 Masehi, the economy experienced an increase in the agricultural sector through irrigation and increased mining products, such as silver, gold, copper, and iron. Number 3. Education sector. At the time of Al-Ma'mun, 830 until 833 Masehi, he is known as a Khalifah who is very fond of science. During his reign, there were many translation activities of foreign books, as well as establishing a school, namely the construction of Baitul Hikmah, or Academy of Science and Civilization, a government center that functioned as a university with a large library. At the time of Al-Ma'mun, Baghdad became the center of culture and science. Number 4. Military file. At the time of Al-Mu'tasim, 833 until 842 Masehi, provide opportunities for the Turks to enter the government by being involved as soldiers and Kurds. At this time, the army system changed as the practice of Muslims following the war had been stopped. Soldiers become professional soldiers so that the military power becomes strong. And then number 5. Fight of science. There are four schools of thought, the first being Imam Abu Hanifah, 700 until 767 Masehi. This mazhab used rational thinking rather than hadith. Meanwhile, Imam Maliki, 713 until 795 Masehi, contains hadith and tradition of the people of Medina. while Imam Shafi'i 767 until 820 Masehi and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal 780 until 885 Masehi. There are Hawarids, Murji'ah and Mu'tazilah sects, and several figures implicated include Al-Razi, who was the first to distinguish smallpox from measles and compiled a pediatric medical book. Ibn Sina, a philosopher who success in discovering the human blood circulation system with his works. Al-Qanun fi at-Tib and Al-Mas'udi is famous in the field of history who is an expert in geography. Number 6. Field of physical development such as waterways or zibaidah canals, mosques, roads, and etc. Time setback of the Abbasiyah dynasty. There are two factors, internal factors and external factors. Internal factors, number 1, the luxury of life among rulers. Number 2, power struggles between families. Number 3, economic downturn. Number 4, religious conflict. Number 5, the area is too wide. External factors. Number 1, competition between nations. Number 2, threats from outside. There were many rebellions. The Fatimiyah or Shia stood in Egypt. The Mongol dynasty attacks led by Hulagu Khan, Baghdad and the land, and the Abbasiyah dynasty ended. Okay, next, Islamic education during Abbasiyah dynasty. During the leadership of Caliph Harun al-Rashid, many educational institutions and observatories were built to support the learning process, such as number 1, Bait al-Hikmah, the first Islamic academic institution or institution to combine many books, especially in book translation activities. These activities reached its peak, which lasted for 100 years, from 750 Masehi to 850 Masehi. Number 2, observatory. During the Abbasiyah dynasty, it was used as an institution and center for astronomy education. Number 3, hospital, but as a health education center. The activities range from theoretical to practical learning carried there. Besides that, it is used as a training ground for students before writing their thesis. Okay, next, Islamic education concept in the Abbasiyah dynasty. During the leadership of Caliph Harun, many intellectual movements were carried to fulfill all educational facilities and facilities for people who want to study the development of Islamic education. Number 1, ontology. One branch of philosophy that deals with the nature of life regarding existence includes the existence of all things that exist and that may not exist. Number 2, epistemology, a doctrine that emphasizes experience in acquiring knowledge and minimize the role of reason. Number 3, Asiology, a branch of philosophy that investigates value in principle. It provides perspective on three main issues: about the search of knowledge, the nature and nature of science, the existence of a world outside the human mind, and how we know it. The epistemology of Islamic education at the time of Caliph Harun al-Rashid refers to gaining knowledge not only based on rationalism and empiricism, but also revelation and institution as authoritative source of knowledge. Okay, next, education system in the Abbasiyah dynasty. Number 1, educational institution and institution in the Abbasiyah period. Number 2, curriculum and educational materials in the Abbasiyah period. Number 3, educational method in the Abbasiyah period. Number 1, educational institution and institution in the Abbasiyah period. Islamic education institution held during the Abbasiyah period. A. Educational institution before madrasah. Number 1, maktab or kutab, basic educational institution. The files taught are hot, calligraphy, the newspaper, faith, and poetry. Number 2, halaqah, Islamic education institution are similar to advanced education or colleges. Number 2, assembly, educational institutions that are used for scientific transmission activities from various disciplines, so that there are many kinds of majlis. Number 4, khan, students, dormitories, and location implementation of religious education, including fiqh. B. Madrasah. Madrasah have been known since the early days of the Abbasiyah rule, such as Bait al-Hikmah, using multicultural concept in education, because the subject of tolerance, cultural ethnic difference, and religion are well known and common. Number 3, curriculum and educational materials in the Abbasiyah period. The curriculum developed is the basic level curriculum, which consists of reading, writing, grammar, hadith, poetry, and basic principle of mathematics. And the curriculum that was developed later was limited to memorizing the newspaper and studying the basic of religion. Number 3, educational method in the Abbasiyah period. The method of education is divided into 3, namely oral, rote, and written. The oral method is in the form of imla, dictation. Lecture method al-sama, the method of learning to read qira'ah. This is the references of this material.